Hello, hello. My name is Ibrahim. I'm going to be presenting my capstone project for Comp 495. Professor Mag and co are in the process of developing and training an LLM called ChatbotLLM. This chatbot system currently lives on this website only. You can actually access it here, and you can interact with it currently only through this interface, but not for much longer. For my capstone project, my task was to develop a plug and play widget that any client could paste onto their website and serve to users. Along with that widget, I developed a dashboard that we can access from the main Chatbot LLM website. That's this button right here that allows you to create, manage, and otherwise interact with deployed widgets. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. So we can access the dashboard from here. Um, in the same way as some other students may be accustomed to, this is the actual management page for the actual LLM itself, and the Professor Michael will give you an access key. It's the same access key to log into the management dashboard for the widgets here. So let me log in. So when you log in, you are going to be brought to the main landing page. On this page, this is where you'd create the widgets, assign a course, manage the widgets further, right? So we can make a test one here, and we can select a course. So as you can see, a lot of these courses have a showcase next to them, and that is for good reason. So this is the actual VM that the Chatbot LLM is hosted on, and this is the courses database, the courses table specifically on the Chatbot LLM database. And as you can see, you got the license ID here. So for all of these courses that have a null license ID, you actually have here in the interface, they are listed as showcase. This is so that if you wanted to play around with this interface, you'd be able to play around with this interface without having actually trained a course on your own. As you can see here, there are some courses here that have a license. My license is number 15 here. I created this just for test purposes to obviously validate that my list is pulling correctly. And as you can see, I have mine here that's tied to my license. And obviously there's no showcase next to it. This indicates that this is mine, that I built this, and I can't see any other courses that someone else possibly trained. Like for example, if we select algorithm here, it's got a license of 8. I don't know who that is. As you can see here, and it's alphabetically sorted, so it would be at the top if I could access it. So yeah, so let's create a key and do a quick little demonstration. So I'll just select this course right here, the FSD 2025 course. And we generate the key. So when you hit generate key, an API key is created. If you ever wanted to reassign the course, just change it for any deployed widget, you could do that through this. This is the status of the widget. It's currently active, but you can actually momentarily disable the entire widget just by hitting the revoke button here. And this indicates obviously that if the client was to try to talk to this, it would spit out basically an error message like, oh, it's disabled or blocked or whatever, and you can reactivate it with this. Obviously delete does what you think it does. So here we got the embed button. The embed button will copy something to your clipboard. This is basically there's going to be the script that after creating the API key and assigning course and blah blah blah, you would copy that script to your clipboard and you would paste it into an email if you wanted to send it to a client, or you would just insert it yourself into whatever web page you were trying to train. So here we can just take a look at this little web page, right? If we hit little inspect, there's nothing here, right? And obviously this is running on my local machine. So if we go here, we can actually paste the script that we copied from our little embed button. And then if we hit a refresh, as you can see, it appears. Now, before I demonstrate the actual back and forth conversational aspects of the widget, I would like to just demonstrate some basic configuration options. Here, these are just layout options, right? So you can actually open your web page here again. Um, and currently we have this current like, light mode. We could actually change the colors, right? I have it here, an example in the README that I created, where we could basically just copy this right here, copy this right here, right? And then upon refresh, the color palette should change. As you can see, this is basically a dark mode, a high contrast mode. We can further change it by changing the message. So, hello, how can I help you today? As you can see, is the default message for the widget. We can say, hi, hello, this is a new test message. And then if we refresh, test message changes, and we could even change the position, right? So here we have this is basically the variable that you change in order to change the positioning here. And we actually have some examples over here in regards to repositioning, right? So we could say, so it takes four directions, bottom, right, and obviously top and left. These are basically just the four cardinal directions on the screen, and this is if I'm not mistaken, a padding from that side of the screen. So if I say bottom and left, right, and obviously for any directions that you don't mention, they are implicitly set to some null value. So I could refresh here, and as you can see, it now appears to the left. And even we could just budget, could say I want it to be 50 pixels off of the left side of the screen. So as you can see, this is the current clearance. If I refresh it, it shifts even further, right? So you can actually control the direction, the positioning of the actual widget itself, the chat, the colors, and the default message all through here. And then after you've obviously configured it to the client's liking, you could just send them the script. They can embed it directly into their website, and they're off to the races. So let's just put that right back on the right. Hit a quick little refresh. All right. So let's do now we're going to just demonstrate the live chat feature. We're going to demonstrate use like human intervention, and we're going to demonstrate chat lookup. So let's say, um, can you tell me about your science courses? It'll spit some answer here out like this. And then if I go into the dashboard here, a live chat generates. So basically for future reference, there's a 10-minute inactivity timer. So if the user is inactive for like the chat just doesn't you know do anything, the specific session doesn't do anything for about 10 minutes, this will actually automatically clear from the live chat section. Now, right now, if I were to ask for human help, can I get some human help? Obviously, the bot will try to respond. Now, here, say you wanted to intervene, you could actually hit that button right there. That will disable the bot's responses. Be like, hi, hello, this is a human, right? And then you get to see this here. And obviously, the user is usually going to be blue. The administrator or any live chat moderator is going to appear in this little purplish color. And I can say, hi, human, thank you for responding. And obviously, the bot doesn't respond, but then when I re-enable it again, is the bot reactive? And the bot will then try to answer that input. So that's basically everything that's going on with the live chat section, how you could intervene and so on, right? We can actually demonstrate what it looks like for multiple clients to be talking to you. So we can generate another API key here. Let's call this test 2. Let's assign, sure, earlier, generate key, embed. So as you can see here, test 2, there's nothing in the page, nice and empty. If I go into test 2 here, paste that in, refresh the page. Hello, hello, hello. And you get some response back. And if we check in the live chat section, as you can see, we have 2 chats, right? And we can say, what can you tell me about early year education? Because I think we selected the early year course for this. Ah, yes, right? Okay, so that's basically how that looks through the live chat section, and obviously you can disable the chats. They're all separate from each other, so if you obviously disable one, it doesn't disable the other, right? And then we can go here into the history. So chats are actually archived. Obviously, as you can see here, it's read-only, and you can actually look through them. You could search through the chats according to some date range, right? Obviously, you can insert some custom date range there. And the way that the search here works is by like little words set in the actual chat, right? So if I say, for example, bot, the chat where I said bot, because that's, I think, the last thing I said, yeah, is the bot reactive. This chat pops up, but the other one doesn't because I didn't say the word bot. So if I say year, the other one pops up because because in this one I said the actual word year. Yeah, and obviously the response from the bot is actually involves year, and but not in the other one. So you search this by literal like content of the conversation. So and finally, in regard to statistics, here are some user statistics. You could filter it by the actual key. As you can see here, you have on the chart, you got something for the input, something for the output, right? You could also select by course, right? So FSD 2025, there's only one of those in use, and early year, there's only one of them in use, right? And of course, again, you could also just filter by date, right? Now, this would be a line chart that goes by day. Currently, obviously, because we just ran it, there's only like 1 point on the graph per session. If I was to say, I don't know, run this again the next day, um, you would get another point, and then the line chart would start to, populate itself and be more visible. So yeah, that is basically the demonstration for this Chatbot LLM widget, the dashboard management system, and how you could play around with the widget to get it just right based on your website layout, right? So because again, one of the reasons why, for example, you can like reposition and change the colors is that obviously not all website layouts are empty like this. Some of them you might need to shift them up or shift them down or do whatever. So yeah, so that's it for my demonstration. If you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be on the Discord. And thank you.